So you never know who's watching and how you may impact somebody who's watching. I kind of wanted to take an opportunity to just kind of give a shout out to a lot of the coaches and the educators that are out here dealing with these kids, man. And I'm talking all the way down to Pee Wee or Little League or whatever you want to call it. You know, when you talk about people who invest their time and their energy and their resources into coaching these kids, talking to them, even disciplining them, giving them some direction. I think that is very, very underrated. I feel like a lot of our educators are underappreciated. They're underpaid. And, you know, the role that they're playing with our kids, with everybody's kids, is extremely important. Again, you never know who's watching and how you may impact somebody. You know, I can tell my own story a little bit and just say, you know, along the way, although I had parents and my parents were present, you know, they always say it takes a village, right? And so, you know, I had a few coaches and a few teachers, you know, that maybe saw something in me, right? But whatever it was, they invested, you know. They said, man, I'm gonna put a little extra time on this kid. I'm gonna, you know, give him a little, he seemed like he's down today. Let me give him, you know, whatever it may have been. And I can say for myself, those are the kind of things that kept me going and gave me an opportunity to actually excel and succeed out here. You know, as early as, you know, I guess I can say, you know, maybe 4th or 5th grade, I had a teacher, Mr. Weatherby, right? I don't know where Mr. Weatherby is. I hope he's still alive and well. But he was one of those guys, man. He, you know, he invested a little more time. You know, he kind of paid attention to, you know, who was falling short here, who was slacking there or whatever, you know. And if it came down to a parent-teacher conference, not because you were in trouble, but because maybe he saw more potential in you and he knew that you weren't really, you know, giving it your all, you know, he wants your parents to know, hey, man, this guy's up here slacking. You know, he could be doing this, but he's doing that. You know what I mean? So I think that helped. Especially for me at that time, because I was transferring to a new school. You know, I had never, you know, really been around a lot of whites. You know, I come from an all-black situation, so I kind of was having a difficult time adjusting in some ways, and that helped me along the way. You know, I had, you know, like a lot of Pee Wee coaches, and you know, that I appreciate the extra energy and the extra attention that they put towards me. You know, rest in peace to Coach Versey. You know, ran summer track with him, and you know, he was always there, man. Whatever I needed, a ride or you know, a talk, or you know. And I look back, I say, man, like he was really he was trying to, you know, I was kind of an introverted kid, you know, so he was like, you know what, you don't really talk much, you know, is everything okay, you know, this and that. And I was fine. There was nothing going on. I just, you know, the way I was kind of brought up, man, if you know, I didn't just make conversation if it wasn't nothing going on, it wasn't nothing in particular to talk about. I didn't just sit there and figure out things to try to say, you know, I just, you know, if it ain't nothing to say, it ain't nothing going on, ain't nothing going on. You know, that's just how it was. And then when we get around people, you know, hey, man, if I don't know you, you know, if you're not family or close friends or something like that, it's not a tough guy thing or anything like that. I was just the kind of kid, like, I don't know you. I ain't really got a lot to say. You know what I mean? So, you know, I ran into, over the years, I ran into a lot of coaches and stuff that they were kind of trying to figure that out. And I appreciate them even making the effort because, again, they all helped me along the way. Shout out to Miss Cabell, man. Miss Cabell over there at Morningside Middle, man. You know, she, you know, it was a rough situation at that time, and they had kind of split up the teams, or they split the students up because I guess they felt like some students were kind of troubled in a way that they were keeping the other students from learning. So, we already had the magnet program. We weren't in the magnet program, but I guess they kind of got together and decided, well, hey, these kids, they still have a chance. Let's separate them from the other kids because it's like these kids are stopping these kids from learning. In reality, I probably was more one of these kids, but I had a teacher like Miss Cabell along the way who said, nah, man, we're going to put Corey over here. And like I said, I don't know if I really deserve to be there, but I think because she knew my big brother, she had taught him and everything, and, she took that chance, she invested in me, and I benefited from that, So shout out to Miss Cabell, man. I really, really appreciate that. Coach Atmore, man, I was with him from like 7th grade all the way up through high school, and man, just always looked out, always protected me, man. I always made sure that I had a fair shot. Now I did my part, I always tried to work hard. I always tried to do the things they asked me to do, type of thing. But, just again, a coach, seeing something in a kid and being a little more patient, or teaching an extra lesson here and there, or whatever it may have been, even handing down some discipline when it was necessary. See, back then, it wasn't viewed as, it wasn't a crazy thing for a coach or a principal or somebody to whip out that paddle. They probably ought to put that paddle back in school, man. Some of these boys, these kids, man, that's what they really need. If we're going to be real about it, let's have that conversation. But, man, shout out to Coach Atmore, man. I appreciate you. I never got the opportunity to tell him that, man, but I hope some way, somehow this makes it to him. Coach Atmore, you made a difference. And there were other ones too, man. I hate, I don't want to leave anybody out, but man, shout out to Coach McCone. I got the opportunity to go to college because of Coach McCone. I was a new kid at that school. This is my senior year in high school. I end up at Crowley because, I ended up at Crowley. And of course, now that I'm here, I want to make the most of it. And shout out to Coach McCone giving me an opportunity to make the most of it. I was kind of in a weird position academically because I already didn't have the best grades. But then also, when I had to transfer from one school to the other, I think some of my credits didn't transfer over or something like that. So I was in a position where, I had opportunity to get a scholarship, but of course I had to meet the academic qualifications. And, he sat down with me, we got a good understanding of what the situation was. Some of my teachers, we went around and we talked to them, and, of course nobody gave me a grade, but they gave me an opportunity to kind of hit the mark that I needed to through doing extra work, through doing, I had to do a couple of makeup assignments, stuff like that. And so that changed the whole trajectory, of my life in a way. I got an opportunity to go to college, go for free on scholarship, got a chance to continue to play ball and chase my dream. And so that wouldn't have happened without, certain people taking an interest, investing in me, believing in me, and, making some sacrifices. So, and man, I probably shouldn't have got into the names because there's definitely other people that I could name as well. But I just, I wanted to throw some of those names out there just to say, if you're an educator, if you're a coach, if you're one of these people, I know it's tough. I know these kids come up there worried about everything but school, so I know, some of the things, the struggles that y'all are having these days. But, stay in the fight. Always know that you never know which one of these kids you may impact in a way that totally changes their lives. You just never know. You might have a troubled kid, and you slowing down and having that extra conversation with them, you never know. It might be the conversation that turns them around and gets them going in the right direction. And so the work that you guys are doing is very, very important. Like I said, I do understand that you are undervalued. So, I'm just one person that's taking an opportunity to let you know, your job is very important. Don't get discouraged. Play the role that we need you to play in society. And again, you never know how you may impact these kids and where they may go, where they may land as a result of the work and the energy that you put toward them. So shout out to my educators, shout out to my coaches, shout out to just people in the community that are working with these kids. Because, that's another thing that I feel like is cool. When you're talking about a Pee Wee coach or, a little league basketball coach or whatever, these guys, in most cases, they're not getting paid, so they're doing probably their kids and everybody else's kids a service by being at practice every day when there's practice, by being at the games every day when there's games, by coaching these kids hard and paying attention to who's not doing what and who is doing what. And I've even heard a lot of these guys, they ask the parents to bring the report cards, hey man, if he's not taking care of business at school, I'm gonna run him. These days people try to, it's like people are against those type of things, but those are the types of things that made us. Those are the type of things that, made us pay a little more attention to detail. It made us think twice, before we made the wrong move or we didn't, do our assignment or whatever it was. So, man, don't give up on that. Let's keep that going. Or if it's not going, let's get that back going because these kids need it. These kids really need it. So again, man, shout out to the educators, shout out to the coaches, shout out to anybody who's out here participating in any shape or form with these kids. You are definitely doing God's work and continue to approach it like that. And thank you.